Welcome, this is Radio Essence. My name is Susanne Lindberg and I'm recording from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. This is an introduction. I will tell something about myself, what I'm doing, and what I call radio station will be about. What I'm going to talk about here are things I hardly talk about with friends or with clients. This happened, but rarely. I did start right. This is many years ago. I have written about my work. I've done it in Dutch. I've done it in Swedish. My material I did in English. So I think it was 15 years ago. I made a folder about my practice, what I do for professional musicians. Then I have made a kind of temporarily folder for the work I do in from people in general. Try to make a kind of complete list of all the things I do. But in all this writing, I've always had the problem of language. I mean, I'm living here as a foreigner. I'm Swedish and have lived here in the Netherlands for many years. My Swedish is a couple of decades old. It's not up to date really, but and English. I've never really studied Dutch or whatever language I write in. I have to have it corrected. And like my articles about my practice, I mean, when you get so far that my corrections from one person is corrected by another one, I have never met someone who can correct my things without changing the meaning of what I'm saying. Anyhow, I still went on writing about some other subjects, like, it was different subjects. The big one, I started an article and I knew that this is going to be several, because I started a subject that, the subject power. And, but after some time I just had to give up. Someone asked me why I did it, and I said that it's time to let my voice get heard. This is many years ago, and at the same time as I said it, I knew something is not right. I mean, this is, but at that time I had no other things I could do. I couldn't do anything else than what I did. It was this spring I suddenly got the idea. I can do radio. I listened to a lot of different radio station on the internet, and why not? And how will this go? After half a year, maybe I had enough. No one is listening. Nothing is happening. I give up. Or let's say over 10 years, I have my own studio, broadcasting live and everything, or something in between. I do not know, but it was like now it was everything fall in place, and I hope I can do what I do best. I have had, living as a foreigner, you meet a lot of foreigners as well, and had many examples. I had a beautiful example when I was in Venezuela of hardly have any language in common, but that was communication. And then I've had this thing, during the beginning of my stay in the Netherlands, I did teach some Swedish, and couple of times I was sent to Brussels. They needed someone for an intensive course, and I remember teaching a couple, and everything went wrong. And I realized there's no communication. a place where they are specialized in language. They do not know how to communicate. One thing I know, that when I'm working with one person in front of me, especially, even with a group, the thing I know, even with my own vocabulary and everything, I know how to communicate. If I'm going to be able to do this well through this radio station, I have no idea, but I will do my best. Something about that subject, power. It's a subject I would love to talk about in the future, but just very, very short. But the most essential. I mean, we consider very much to kill someone, to steal from someone, is wrong. How would it be if we consider using our power over someone else as being wrong? We like to see ourselves as human beings that develop through the times. Sometimes I wonder if we could together decide that power over someone else is something we do not wish. Government wouldn't govern, they would serve. We had to see that other people that are now in power take their seats. People who really want to serve. And so on and so on. Just imagine for yourself, how would that world look like? I asked once a journalist, I asked this question, and he was thinking, and then he said, boring. I mean, I suppose he would have to change profession. So it would be a very different world than we have now. And yeah, that's one aspect of it, and something I would love to come back to later. During the latest years, I've got into that subject much deeper. I bought my first computer. I bought 2008, later than everyone else, but I never remember dates. But this one was last of January or 1st of February, one of those days. And when I got it, I mean, I wanted to look and check for these exciting things like UFOs and all kind of things. I mean, search whatever I could find. I did watch a video. It was I'm sure it was in February or March. I saw this video, someone sitting in front of the camera and telling there's going to be a financial crisis in September 2008. So I watched this video about half a year before, and I thought, yeah, we'll see. I don't know, and I watched the next video. But when it came September 2008, I did remember that video. The thing he said is, I'm not telling this because I can look in the future. No, he was giving this information because he knew it was planned. Of course, this is not a proof that it was planned, but I have the tendency to take him serious. And suddenly you sit there with the thing of who was planning this? Why was the people planning this? And how had they got the means of doing this? suddenly there was a kind of huge amount of questions, and I really started searching. So let's say 4 years I've been searching, and I have, for sure, I couldn't find that video again. I didn't even know when it was recorded. I know I watched it half a year in advance. But I do have found other ones telling precisely the same thing, like things are being planned. And there are people in power, so here we again have power, who are capable to do these kind of things, and have the motive of doing these kind of things. In 4 years, I collected a lot of data. Videos, all the things I've collected and saved are things that I've watched and all found interesting in one or the other way. I have documents, government documents, I have articles, I have books, I have all the written material I still have to read. When I started reading people 20 years ago, I stopped reading. It was like, what is the most interesting thing to read? The book or the author? And suddenly the books had no interest to me any longer. And I mean, if you start searching this kind of thing, you end up among these so-called conspiracy theorists. And for sure, I can promise you, they are crazy people. No doubt about it. And I mean, these kind of things really attract those people who are emotionally disturbed and or unbalanced and see things in a certain kind of way. But the thing is, if you were not crazy before, when you start to find the material, it is like if you know where to look, everything is to be found. And studying this, reading this, seeing this, if you were not crazy before, you become. I have heard so many times people have become specialists in a certain subject are being asked, how did they start? They always start with a thing of saying, oh, I didn't believe in these kind of things. I thought it was just crazy stuff. Then I experienced this, or I found this. And from there, I got hooked and convinced. And I promise you, I have had to watch my sanity a lot. I mean, I've had to stop. At this moment, I even have stopped to watch news. I don't read the papers. I peek a little bit, kind of once, twice a week or something like. But it's like, no, it's time to be here and now, because if I look around me, where I am, I can't see anything of this. It's nothing. All this kind of stuff I collected is just rubbish. It's just not true. It's just fantasies I do not know. I mean, I even haven't seen a chemtrail. But I have seen that the Netherlands is on the map of geoengineering, and I even have seen someone placed the videos showing chemtrails over Amsterdam. But I haven't seen it. I haven't experienced anything of all this kind of stuff. So if I'm here and now, it's not there. But I do have enough material to even say something is going on. But the collecting I've done for many years, I've had to stop. I will now check what I have, and through the time I will share certain things with you, because I think it should be heard. But I mean, there are many people out there telling about these things. People you also really should take serious. I mean, of these crazy people, they do not have they do not all have their facts right. That doesn't need to mean that it's but I do not want to repeat what has been done. I will do something I hope never to do again today. I'm going to show you videos that I think at least will make you start thinking, if you haven't get across these kind of things again. It's people that it's hard, very hard to neglect. And but do ask yourself the question, do you want to look into this? Because it is really a choice. I did tell someone about what I'm now doing, and he said, why should I know? I can't do anything about it. And it's true. I mean, I can't do anything about all this kind of stuff. But there is another aspect. I really think that a lot of things can go on if we do not know about it. And media is not telling us everything. I'm quite sure about that. But what I was going to say, I mean, I'm not going to repeat the things that there are a lot of people already doing. They're doing it better than I do. And what I'm doing as well is promoting fear. And promoting fear is so against everything I believe in and what I'm doing and my work and everything. I mean, I've been given courses, and a couple of times I have, 3-4 times, I've used the theme fear. And it's such a fun subject. It has so much potential, and it's so it's really fun to work with. You do not believe me, but actually it is. So just throwing things out there would be promoting fear in a way I can't do. Some way I do not at this moment. I do not know how. I will share my information with you, but I have to find a way that is empowering. I will do my best. And at this moment I let all this information lay to rest. And when I feel like I will grab it and I will look through and see what I can do. I have strange things as a child. I have, for example, I've seen things that's going to happen in the future. And the very big things, several, I haven't seen any of them yet, but small things happen all the time. So I think the scenery for all the other things are not really set yet, but it doesn't matter. But there's one thing that I one day will influence world politics. And if it's true or not, does really do not matter to me. Those things I've had has been like carrying a curse, like seeing those things over there, and I couldn't see a path. I couldn't see a place where I could put the first foot down to take a step. That is the direction. Okay, let's walk there. Let's say this is the first step in that direction I'm taking. And if it's true or not, we'll see, and this is a first step out of probably thousands, many thousands of steps. But if you aim for a star, you might reach the moon. But this is my intention. I can for sure not do it alone. I just want to put it out there once, and for the rest, I'm just going to share that what I have to share. If you do not want to go into this stuff I'm talking about, world politics things, you do not need to stop listening. But then you should not watch the videos that I'm going to talk about later. Just let me a little bit challenge you and see what happens. The thing that is essential for me is the work inside. It's actually the same kind of choice that everyone has to make for themselves. Let's say I've been as deep inside as you can get, and that does sound heavy. And I can tell that the deepest is actually, the very deepest is not heavy, it's laughter. It's amazing. So, but that is actually my work of knowing yourself. And I want to challenge you there as well, but that as well is a choice. I can't recommend that kind of work. It's just, I can't. To me, personally, it's like I wouldn't have stayed on this earth if I hadn't made it. It's like I can't imagine life being here on earth without the work I've done. To me, the human being is no mystery any longer. And even if you're not interested in that, looking inside, because what does most people think about this looking inside is like, do not wake up the bear. I mean, it's sleeping. Let's not do it. And the idea that if I look inside, I might find something evil, something bad, something. I promise you, it's not true. There might be really evil people. I haven't been close to anyone to say a person is evil. They might exist, but for me, people are wounded and can do evil things, and that's something completely different. It's not about. It's about finding our wounds and knowing how to treat them. It's just like the physical body. We know what happens if we don't treat wounds and diseases and so on. It's the same thing emotional, but there's no one to teach us about that. And let's say that there are some of my discoveries of what I've made on my path that I have been walking. I did already as young start to look at the world as, let's say, if you look at the communication between two governments, two countries, and compare that with the communication between two persons. If you see it as two persons, like they are talking for 10 minutes, they have been shaking hands. If you look at it as human beings, and not this kind of government above in the clouds somewhere unreachable, if you look at it as just human beings, they are incredibly disturbed. So I started very young, as a teenager, already looking at things in another way. And my conclusions have changed. I do not think we get to know the real communication. This is a theater. This is what we get to see. That is my conclusion I'm making now. There is much more going on And governments are known to have secrets. So it is as well fun to look at the news and watch the news and read the papers in another way, because the fun I have is when I get certain thoughts in my head or visions or something. I have the most strongest experience I've had is when let's say, was it news? It was a politician walking and a horde of journalists around asking questions about this and that, and this is a politician I saw for the first time. And immediately it was like, oh shit, that was a big reaction. Real emotional, strong reaction. I just looked at her mouth and I just knew she is trouble. Her name is Rita Verdonk, and I do not remember the details any longer. But she had 2 governments falling. I don't remember if she was the main person in both those crises, but at least one she was really the main, and I think twice. 2 governments falling because of her. And I did follow her a little bit after my reaction there, and actually she was had been a prison director. I saw her actually governing as if she treated the Netherlands as a prison. It was just an example of you can, if you listen, if you can hear a lot of things that are not said. At this moment I've stopped. I do not want this kind of information stuff going on. I need some peace and to get this kind of thing started, but later I will keep myself up to date what's going on in the world. So this was a little bit this and that. In the future I will choose a subject to keep to that. So it's going to be a combination of how I work, how I look at things, and as well connected with what's going on in this world at this moment, and the history as well. I've kept it as simple as possible at this moment because I want to have a threshold that's not too high to just get going, and as things feels good, just let things grow naturally, and we'll see what comes out of it. Maybe a tune in the beginning, maybe my own website, and so on and so on. At this moment, I have a YouTube page. I will place some videos if there is information that I want to share, as well as if I want to have a photo or something, I can place it on my video. I have as well a script page. There's a link on my YouTube page, Radio Essence, as well, with documents. I do not have anything really interesting. I have a few things, but not really interesting things. And I have an email address, Hotmail. I do not use my Gmail. I'm used with a Hotmail. I stay with that at this moment. So it's as well Radio Essence hotmail.com, at hotmail.com. If you have questions, if you want to react, please do, and I will answer one or the other way. The videos I wanted to share with you at this moment, please watch if you choose to. These are things that I have watched the last couple of months, and thought I wanted to share. The kind of videos I've chosen are actually subjects that are the hardest to accept as true. As well, there are people here that are very hard to kind of neglect. Here, placed as number 16, we have Anthony Sutton, a professor. He's talking about secret societies. And he has written several books, and books I want to read all of them. Yeah, it's some information about the Bush families. It's quite an old one, but I don't think much have changed. Charlotte Isabet, really an old teacher. I mean, but she worked in the Reagan administration, as well as she has a father who was a member of Skull and Bones. She is someone who knows things from inside, and she has written books, she has made several interviews, and it has been about education, the most of them. This is not so much about that, but there was some information I thought very interesting. A lot of this information and what I've been looking at is the US, and there's a reason why. It's because, let's say, US is the hardest hit. Let's say the third world has been hit before, but now the US is the hardest hit. But it will come to Europe if it goes on. If you can stand this pen him moving around the pen all the time, it's quite the Money Master is a video quite long, but it's one out of many about the money system, how it's built up, how it started, and what's going on. I said something about people who are telling they know things are planned. Lindsay Williams is one of them, and this is one of the many videos he has, and interviews and so on, and he's someone who has really been on the inside. That is what he says. And he's a priest. I'm trying to look at him and is there some kind of reason in him to not tell the truth? He could be told lies. That's a possibility. I mean, I even heard him on an interview on a radio station, and telling that oh yes, as I told you half year ago, there will come this crisis in the Middle East, and one problem in one country after the other. I didn't hear that broadcasting when he was telling it, that it was planned. But I heard the interview when he was telling, oh yes, we spoke about this half a year ago, I told you, this is planned, it's coming. And according to him, the real big financial crisis is coming. And then we have, let's see, Ted, I can't remember his name, CIA and Satanism. It's quite heavy stuff. Is it true what he's saying on this video? He is a former FBI chief of a part of California. Retired, and he sounds credible. I do not know, but it's hard. He's someone that is very hard to doubt in what he's telling, and I've heard many things with him, and the thing is that you get the feeling that he is telling the things that he really have the documents and the proof for, but that he knows much, much, much more. That's the impression I get. See for yourself. And then they have the corporation. It's telling something about the power the corporations have today. And then we have the UFOs. If they're here or not. This is one out of many, but I like this one when I saw it because I want to share it, because I have much more, but I want to share this one because it supports its facts on government papers, military, these kind of things. It's people who supposed to be trustworthy. What is as well interesting is just like the Disclosure Project. It was a press conference that was given. I think the attention disappeared some because it was just before 9/11. So but there as well. I mean, they have testimony of government insiders, government people retired. About 400 testimonies of what is going on. And it is quite a story. So the Disclosure Project is to be found on the internet. The Century of Self is a documentary series, and I talked about the media. It's very clear that we have to watch the media. Is it propaganda or is it information? It's talk about the history, the Edward Bernays, family of Sigmund Freud, and what he built up. He's not as known, but when I watched this, I mean, I listened to two things. First, I tried to imagine how would the world look like, and how would my life be different without these activities in the past. As well as I listen to this, what I all the time listen to, who are those people seeing themselves as a bow who have to guide the people in one or the other directions? Who are those? What are their motivations? And what are their powers? Chemtrails. It's spread quite much all over the world, as far as I've find out. If we have this FBI chief I talked about earlier, doing 2 interviews with Chip Tatum. It's someone who's doing those, says he has done those things that I many times heard the CIA has been doing. True or not true? I took both these interviews. I included them both because there were different things came up on these 2. Here's another of Anthony Sutton, the professor, and it gives another completely other picture of the history we are taught. So one more thing with Lindsay Williams, and I'm sorry, I can't remember why I included this at this moment. I did have a very special reason while doing it, but I'm sorry. And then there's some more. I think they speak for themselves. Yeah, the last one, I found very important. But I remember it was a 3-part documentary by BBC, and it was about the things going on here in Europe in the years 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And the story told was actually very much that are said it's happening now. The ingredients precisely the same. There was even someone from from a secret society telling their part and the motivation. I would love to talk a little bit about my script page. Something has happened here. I miss a document, and I have double. So, but the Secret Covenant. There's an investigator called Ed Griffin. He received this paper. He doesn't know where it came from, but it's quite interesting list, and he says he doesn't believe it's a true document, but there's someone inside who'd want to warn people and have put this together. He could be right, and but it could as well be. I mean, imagine a group of bank robbers getting together and putting the plans on paper and say, okay, we do this and that and that. It looks a little bit like it could be something like that. Very closed group putting their plans together, and he has put it all links, 2 pages of links. I haven't checked those links, but all these links he has put it there is 2 pages supporting all these points that I made, that these things are going on. So look for yourself. It's a list where you get sick of. And then there is this document. There is a part in the middle that's quite interesting. It's not such a important paper, but I just included it for a couple of sentences. It's in the middle. There are some reports, for example, that some countries have been trying to construct something like an Ebola virus. That would be a very dangerous phenomenon, to say the least. Alvin Toffler has written about this in terms of some scientists in their laboratories trying to devise certain types of pathogens that would be ethnic specific, so that they could just eliminate certain ethnic groups and races. And others are designing some sort of engineering, some sort of insects that can destroy specific crops. Other are engineering even in an eco-type of terrorism, whereby they can alter the climate, set off earthquakes, volcanoes remotely through the use of electromagnetic waves. So there are plenty of ingenious minds out there that are at work finding ways in which they can wreak terror upon other nations. It's real, and that's the reason why we have to intensify our efforts, and that's why this is so important. This is from a debriefing by Secretary of Defense, 1997. It's all about promoting fear, and he is important, and we need more and more, and of course. And he doesn't tell anything about what the Americans have themselves. If they know about it, they have it. I'm sure about it. The reason why I included this was that these kind of things about virus for certain ethnic groups and races, and set off earthquakes and volcanoes and alter climate. These are things you hear. Those I've heard so many times mentioned by by Alex Jones, for example. They're doing this and they're doing that and that. And here I find it on a government paper. So, true or not true? yeah, it's this is just a little thing, and actually I have plenty of things. I did have another paper here that has disappeared. I don't like the Secret Covenant. Something as shocking and maybe even more from the 60s. Maybe this is enough. So, if you go through these kind of things, I can imagine you sitting there shaking. But that's not a state where anything can be done. That's the only thing I know. If I'm here on this earth to have an influence, I've had influence in individual lives and in my work, and it's beautiful to see how people change in front of you, and that's something I will go on with doing. And can I do something more? I do not know. Let's see together what we can do. I hope let me challenge your mind and inspire you in your own search. That's what it's all about. This is what I can tell I have for an introduction. If I'm doing well, I will I will add something about once a week. I do not want to promise anything, but if you can subscribe. If you subscribe, you can even get YouTube to send you an email when I add the next one. But in principle, I would like to add an hour once a week. I am aware that sound quality can be improved, and I had been practicing because in the beginning I sounded so stiff. I do not like the mic, and I hope with a couple of months doing this once a week maybe I will sound more naturally, more fluent in my way of speaking, and still I hope that you hear that the content is of importance, and the presentation, I'll work on it. And for some, the content is not important. For some it is, and that's the way life is, and it is precisely as it should be. I hope you come back, and so maybe until another time. The last part is for just of importance for those who speak Dutch. So I switch my English off, and thank you for this time. Bye. Zo, wat ik in het Nederlands zou willen vertellen is dat ik heb veel cursussen gegeven in het verleden, maar een paar jaar heb ik dat laten rusten. En ik was van plan om weer in januari te beginnen, maar iemand kreeg mij eigenlijk op te denken dat misschien zou het ook leuk zijn om voor kerst iets te doen. Ik verwacht dan geen grote groep, echt niet, maar echt daarom, om met misschien 2 mensen of zoiets iets te beginnen. Meestal weet ik wanneer het tijd is om een cursus te geven, omdat ik krijg een thema in mijn hoofd. En dit keer is er geen thema, maar met een paar mensen alleen, dan kunnen we echt flexibel zijn en gewoon bezig zijn met wat geïnteresseerd is, wat van belang is voor die mensen die daar zijn. Is er iemand die interesse heeft, dan stuur mij een e-mail en ik zal zo spoedig mogelijk antwoord geven. Dus wat is het voor cursus? Ja, ik heb het nooit goed kunnen vertellen, maar in principe is het werken in jezelf, intuïtieve ontwikkeling, diepere zelfkennis is de woorden wat ik heb gebruikt, maar ik heb geen woorden gevonden die echt vertelt wat ik doe. Wat ik ook aan denk is misschien, wat ik soms heb gedaan in het verleden, is een tarotcursus. Het is als geen tarotcursus, het is alleen 5 weken cursus en het gaat eigenlijk alleen over het werktuig die ik gebruik in mijn werk. Het is niet zoveel over het werk zelf, maar om het werktuig te leren. Dat is een leuke manier en ga niet even diep, maar toch voor degene die niet gewend is om naar zichzelf te kijken, gaat het behoorlijk diep. Als je met intuïtie wil werken, dan de plek om dat te vinden is naar binnen te gaan. Dus ja, laat me weten. Dat zou ook in de eerste dagen van november ook kunnen beginnen. Dus wil je meer informatie, dan laat het weten. En anders begint het in januari. Zo bedankt en tot ziens. Doei.